first thing to look at is to take a very specific example, the latest of which we saw this week with the kind of explosion, if you will, of Sarah Palin on the scene of national politics and the national media. And there was a lot of questioning about her experience, obviously, if you remember, and both, and I think rightfully so, the Republican Party, especially Senator McCain, and also Governor Palin and her family felt like they were being attacked. And I think that the argument could go both ways. Number one being that the media and the public, which is of course who we serve, that's who we're served as the public, we're asking the questions that they're curious about. We have a right to question any political figure on anything that we feel is appropriate. If they don't like that, the way I look at it is tough cookies. You can tell me you don't want to answer it respectfully, and then we'll move on with whatever the line of questioning is. But at the same time, I do understand, for example, that they think that the media may have been dancing on an issue, especially when they claim, and so many people claim that the media has a bias to the left. I think there are certain organizations that may have a bias to the left. At the same time, I think there are certain organizations that have a bias to the right. And then there are others that are straight down the middle. As a matter of fact, I've always said that I'm proud to be affiliated with ABC News because I think they are the most fair reporting news agency in the country.
I think it's very important. Part of a democracy is an open government, and the press is the people's conduit to the president. Obviously, the president can't speak directly with 300 million Americans every day, or even in a year, and so the press is that outlet for the president to communicate with the people, and for people to communicate back to the president.
Well, the problem is there isn't much of a relationship in the last 8 years between the presidency and the press. The relationship tends to be one of handout to the press, and the press taking it and repeating it and not questioning it. And that's often why a lot of people are trying to get involved in citizen journalism, because they don't get the answers they want. They get fluff questions from the press as opposed to real questions about issues. And when our journalists try to ask those questions, the other press get very upset because it's not going according to script. And I think that there needs to be the relationship between the press and the president needs to be one that's more open and not one where people are banished because they ask tough questions, like Helen Thomas or some of the other journalists who have basically had their credentials pulled for asking tough questions at press conferences.
Well, I guess the traditional role has always been that of a watchdog, just to make sure keeping them honest and items like that.